Welcome back today. We're going to dive deep into a dialogue record between the master and the disciple, provided by the Buddha Bodhi Association of Australia. The core concept is incredibly powerful. It is called the mind of non-attachment and non-binding liberation. Just hearing the name gives you a sense of its depth. It sounds a bit mysterious, right? Yet the most fascinating part of this material is that it tries to tell us there is actually a shortcut to this state of ultimate freedom. A shortcut that's always appealing. Though usually, when we hear the word shortcut, we get a bit suspicious wondering if there's a catch. Exactly. So, our task today is to deconstruct this concept. One, the strategy of convenient practice apart. Let's start with the shortcut. The material mentions a term called convenient practice. Usually, we associate spiritual practice with hard work, bitter persistence, and willpower. It feels exhausting. However, this material provides a more fundamental perspective. It says the first step of convenient practice is not an action, but a choice. Imagine you are standing in a massive crossroad with dozens of paths. If you lack a map or a compass, meaning you lack red view, then the harder you run, the further you might end up from your destination. In Buddhism, this process of using wisdom to discern the direction and choose the path is called Dharma investigation. This is the most critical first step, the gift pack from the Buddha. The most disruptive idea here is that the most convenient method isn't to struggle in isolation, but to directly accept the gift pack from the Buddha. This might feel like getting something for nothing, which goes against the cultural grain of you reap what you sow. But the material points out a key truth. When sentient beings, like monks, is often not the will to practice, but the capacity. The problem, most people don't have the capacity to maintain perfect precepts, give everything away selflessly, or master deep meditative absorption on their own. It might take countless lifetimes to master even one. The solution, the Buddha's convenient method, is to directly endow you with this capacity. It's like going to Amitabha Buddha and being granted supernatural powers, or relying on the medicine Buddha to help you achieve the 6 parameters generosity, precepts, patience, etc. The material uses a striking analogy. Someone may work hard for a year and still not earn $1 million, but the Buddha is willing to give it to you directly. You just have to reach out. It's not about giving up effort. It's about starting your effort from a much higher baseline. 2. Being born into the Tathagata family. This leads to an even more profound concept. Being born into the house of the Tathagata. This isn't just getting a tool. It's upgrading your entire operating system. The story of the white cat. There was a beautiful, pure white cat, let's call it Snowball. Snowball was sent to a messy, chaotic environment. Before long, its snow-white fur became mottled and dirty. The cat didn't actively do anything bad, but because it lived there, it was polluted by the environment. It started to accept the food, water, and habits of that house. This illustrates the power of the environment and karma legacy. The lesson: if you are born into a king's house, you inherit resources. If you are born into the Tathagata family, the Buddha's house, you naturally carry the pure gene of the Buddha. The warning, the material is shown here. It says some practitioners are in the Buddha's house physically, yet their hearts are loyal to the house of Mara, the devil. These are wolves in sheep's clothing. A true son of the Buddha is pure in body, speech, and mind, naturally possessing great compassion and joy. 3. Shifting the mindset. Picking a goal. The scriptures mention that a bodhisattva must perform infinite vows without rest. To most of us, without rest sounds like endless overtime. It's stressful. But the master in the dialogue transforms this concept brilliantly. He asks, if I change performing infinite vows to picking a gold out of the ground, and someone told you to go rest, what would you do? You'd probably be annoyed. You want to keep going because you're afraid the gold will be gone when you wake up. When you shift the mindset from a tiring duty to a joyful harvest that benefits yourself and others, the fear of exhaustion disappears. 4. Why can't we see the miracles? The scriptures say a bodhisattva can contain all lands within a single paw. If they had this power, why can't we see it? The material uses the ant and the sugar analogy. Perspective. We are like ants. The bodhisattva is like a giant. We are too small to see the whole picture. Capacity. You can't give a whole sugar cube to an ant. It will crush it. You have to break off a tiny grain that the ant can carry. The problem isn't that the bodhisattva isn't giving. It's that our receiver is too low spec. Our minds are too small to process that much energy. The variable of the human mind. A body software can know every thought a being has had since the beginning of time. So why can't they just fix our destiny? Because sentient beings are alive and ever-changing. Your next thought can overturn the previous one. If you repent, you change your karma. If you rejoice in someone else's evil, you worsen it. We're the ultimate variable. 5. The final solution. Recognition. In the end, everything comes down to one word. Recognition. What was the white cat's biggest mistake? It recognized itself as part of that messy house. We do the same with our troubles. We tell ourselves, I am miserable. I am a failure. We feed these thoughts until we become them. The ultimate conclusion, your mind, in its original state, is already liberated, non-attached, and non-bound. It is naturally pure and free. You don't need to create a liberated mind. You just need to stop recognizing and identifying with the passing clouds of trouble. When you hold on to your original nature, you achieve severance of sense objects and mind. You see things as they truly are, and wisdom arises naturally. Summary of aha moments. Choice greater than effort. True convenience begins with choosing the right direction, not blind labor. The power of home, which spiritual system you identify with, determines your life's quality. Mindset shift. See practice as picking a goal, and you'll never feel tired. Identification is power. You're what you identify with. Identify with your original, pure mind. The material ends with a profound quote. The way you tie the knot is exactly the way you untie it. The hand that ties the knot is the same hand that can undo it. Next step, I invite you to think, what is the biggest knot in your life right now? If the power to untie it is in the same hand that tied it, what new possibility does that open up for you today? Would you like me to help you explore how to apply this recognition technique to a specific stressor in your life?